Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. This story was trendy about 3 days ago or so. I didn't get a chance. It was trendy everywhere, and I didn't cover it because apparently it's the second time this story will come out in a different format. I didn't cover it back then because I generally don't cover um, extreme stuff. I rather just talk to the Prestige family in their regular persons. Although regular bad things happen to regular people, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying like the day-to-day relationship issues is what I and life and adulting. That's the kind of stuff I like to pay attention on. The extreme stuff oftentimes gets way too emotional, and just we have a bunch of weirdos answering them, and I just leave them alone for the most part. But this one, this young man has been exonerated, so I thought it would be it's important we highlight it because the reality is that a lot of the issues we're dealing with, they're not gendered. When you look at rape cases, abuse and stuff like that, they do tend to tilt more in the direction of women being victims. That's the reality. Numbers shows it. It is what it is. But men are also the one who tend to protect our society, either in the form of institutions, police, soldiers, or even at a personal level. It's men fighting other men predators away from their own family, right? So it's just what it is. Unfortunately, we'll continue to fight against the devil or evil, right? So, but I think the day-to-day stuff is what I like to focus on. But anyways, look at this story here. It says alleged defilement case. Enugu police confirmed that a wife made a false allegation of defilement against the father of her two daughters, arraigning her and the complainant. It is very dangerous, right? To just believe everybody. Okay. There's a difference between believing everybody or having empathy when you're listening to a story and not judging the 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 victim, right? There's a fine line between that, right? I don't have to jump there and say, "Irolopa." A lot of people just want to be quick to say it's just a lie. I was like, well, actually, you don't know that part too. Why don't you just say you don't know? Why don't you just empathize with the person that's telling a story and say you're sorry they went through that? And you're not a court, you're not a judge, a court of law. So why are you determining if they're lying or not? They just told you a story. They might be crying in front of your face. Just tell them you're sorry. And if you don't have anything nice to say, shut the fuck up. Well, that's why is that so hard for some people to do? Anyway, for me personally, I don't address some of these cases because some of these cases is they belong in the courts. Okay, they belong in the court. So anyway, Enugu State Police Command released this alleged defilement of two children by their father, while Enugu police arraigned the complainant and children's mother instead of the accused father. The Enugu State Police Command on 25th of October 2025 received a complaint from Okonkwo Chisom, female aged 29, lodged at the command's MNA police division, alleging that her husband, Okonkwo Ozioma, had been defiling their two daughters, aged 5 and 3 years old, and threatening to kill her if she disclosed it. However, following the husband's arrest and the diligent investigation, the allegations were found to be false and misleading. That's all a lot of people need to read before they jump out there and they say, "Oh, I knew it, I knew it." Like, no, you didn't know shit. Okay, the reality is that a lot of people are still victims. So while I like this kind of stories, you don't use these stories to discount other stories. Anyway, investigations revealed that, contrary to her claims, the periods in 2024 and 2025 during which Chisholm alleged the offenses occurred were the same time she had traveled alone with all the children to their hometown in Imo State. It further showed that in two separate handwritten voluntary statements, their 7-year-old son exonerated his father and disclosed that their mother had coached him and his sisters to falsely accuse their father. That's sad. A fact supported by video evidence. Additionally, she attempted to withdraw the case and stop further police investigation upon realizing, a fact supported by video evidence. Additionally, she attempted to withdraw the case and stop further police investigation upon realizing that the truth was emerging and the case would turn against her. Consequently, having failed to prove allegations beyond reasonable doubt, Chisom Okonkwo was found to have defamed her husband and provided false and misleading information to the police. She was thereafter arraigned before the Magistrate Court of Enugu State on the two counts charged of defamation and given false information. She was granted bail by the court and the case was adjourned for further hearing. Chizo Mokoko was found to have defamed her husband and provided false. Okay. The Commissioner of Police, CP Maman Beatrice Giwa, PSC, commended the detectives of the State of Intelligence Department, SID, for their thorough and impartial investigation of the case. He reiterated the command's commitment to fairness, justice, and professionalism in handling all cases, warning that any complaint found to have made false or malicious allegations will be prosecuted in accordance with the law. SP Daniel Ndukwe. So that's that story. So she is, in fact, a mad woman. Send her to prison. Carry Ponkmo. I hope the police confirm that with the kids. The wife is crazy, if true. I'm sure, we have to believe them because this is an official statement from the police. But the reality is that we're going to see cases like this where people decide to weaponize the fact that the society or social media court of public opinion tend to believe victims quickly and just or seemingly, because the stories go viral and somebody's reputation could have been messed up, right? So, but it's still all fair, and if it's not fair, it's the job of the police and the court to fight against any type of injustice, or fight for fairness for everybody, So I'm glad that they caught the situation, but you're going to see more and more situations like this. I do think it's dangerous to jump out there and be all too passionate or emotional about a story that has not been proven right, because at the end of the day, it is still very true that anybody that accused of anything is innocent until proven guilty. Just again, gentlemen, especially you, manage your expectations around the social media. Social media is not your mate. Social media court of public opinion is exactly what that is. If you jump on the internet, you start arguing with your destiny, follow them more, because it's not going to, so make sure you're not moving mad too, or try your best to not move mad. But Oloma Jakari Akuba, because Akuba is a real thing for a lot of people. Well, look at this man now married to this kind of woman, right? Wouldn't you call that Akuba? So it's sad to read this kind of story, but they do happen. Things are happening in this world. Chinye says it is why they keep getting convicted in the UK. Tufiakwa. Custody battles are messy. So she's probably trying to run away or get rid of him or something like that. She's probably crazy, It's sad to see that kind of story, and how weaponizing those kids, including the older son, against the father. That is a very sick person. That is a very sick person. I think this was the original letter in the magistrate court of Chisholm, age 29 years old, that you Chisholm, sometime in the month of along Adoration Junction opposite within the jurisdiction of the okay, this is the charge essentially. Okay, and this is the original arrest. Enugu government arrests father for alleged defilement of his two daughters. The Enugu state government has confirmed the arrest of Mr. Ozima. Okoko was apprehended on Saturday night, October 25. The two children had been placed in government-approved shelter under the Ministry of Children, Gender Affairs and Social Development, and where they are receiving medical and psychological care. Their mother, said to be deeply traumatized, will also undergo therapy supervised by the ministry's counseling team. The government commended the police force for a swift response and reaffirmed its zero tolerance policy on sexual and gender-based violence. All right. So either way we look at it, this man is probably still sad because that's his whole family still in a bunch of craziness, like who wants to wake up one day and be like, but there's probably issues between that husband and wife before this. And I'll say this, if you know there are issues between the two of you, what you should be looking for is a place of decision. Decide if you want to stay or you want to leave. If you want to stay, you want to leave. Either way, it does not tamper with the rest of your life if you don't if you don't want it to tamper with, but you need to seek counseling on how to move on properly. Because sometimes it's just the right thing to do to move on. Sometimes it's also the right thing to do to stay. It depends the case by case situation. But don't move on into more chaos. Don't use your solution to create more problems for you and your children. All right. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. I'll be right back.
This is Ola, man of prestige, your favorite relationship and marriage coach. If you enjoyed this, smash that like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Be a part of the Prestige family. My wife Lola and I have written 2 powerful books, Get My Marriage Back and Number 1 Red Flag, yours free at manofprestige.com. For personal coaching, send me a WhatsApp request for consultation to +1 732 305 8577. Stay tuned for more. Your journey to love and prestige starts here.